So last night, West Ham, we lost to Bristol City again. I say again, we drew last time, but, we lost last night, and it was an absolutely horrendous performance. And today I'm here to, bring my resurgence, come back, start the grind again. For the simple reason that I'm just losing my mind reading and listening to what people have to say about last night. And the thing that annoys me the most is he gives solvents of blame on Moyes, which we're going to get into in a minute. But I'm going to start off by just talking about the players quickly, because I think that's another thing that has to be addressed. A lot of people are solely blaming the players and saying, they weren't good enough and that's the entire reason we lost. I don't entirely agree with that. I think the way we were set the players up to lose, didn't set them up to play particularly well. When you got Danny Ings, you're missing your midfielder. You've only got two midfielders, so we're playing in midfield two. Right, fine. So let's play another striker, but no, we play an extra defender. Like, where's the logic in that? We know Danny Ings will work way better with another striker alongside him. Give him another striker. Start Mubamba alongside him. Why are we starting another defender against Bristol City? I don't get that at all. It didn't work. We still conceded a goal. Like, we can, you got Mavropanos loses the ball and none of our other defenders are anywhere to be seen. Like, where are they? Why aren't they coming back and helping out? I just don't see what was going on there at all. And that Mavropanos mistake, yeah, all right, it was a crap mistake. But Mavropanos has made that mistake 2 or 3 times now, and Moyes still hasn't gone to him and said, right, stop doing that. Why is he not telling him, right, in this situation, this is what you do? Why is he not helping him get over these mistakes? That's a job as a manager. You find the mistakes that players are making, and you tell them, right, no, don't do that, do this. Right, why has he not done that? And also, why is there no one for Mavropanos to pass to, right? The way we're set up is so poor. He gets the ball, 3 players press down on him and he's like, where do I pass to? There is no one open to me. Right, the only player open to him is Fabianski, and he doesn't want to make the pass. You can see the reluctance. You can see why he's a bit slow in making the pass, because he doesn't want to make it. But he has to, because he's got no options open to him whatsoever. He's literally got one hope, and that is that he gets this ball to Fabianski, and he doesn't. And, I don't think he ever expected to, but, at the time, that was the only option he had available to him, and that's ridiculous, and that is the tactics. I've seen a few people, blame our lack of forward sort of presence on the players. I thought Cornet was very good, actually, in the first half. I think he was actually trying to look to make things happen. I think Ings was poor not to get on the end of some of those balls he was sending through to him. Ings was too slow. If you're not getting on the end of those balls like that Courtney was putting through, then you're not good enough to play in the Premier League. There's not a chance that a Premier League team would buy him. Based on that, because you have to be able to run onto balls. That's how you play as a striker. And also, even when he got chances where he was in front of goal and he had the ball with barely any pressure on him, he missed. There was another point where he takes a shot from miles out. Cornet is onside, standing there waiting for Ings to play him through, and quite possibly and quite probably would go on to score from that position. But no, Ings decides he's going to take a long shot and misses. And that was ridiculous as well. I wouldn't even say our forward players played terribly. I would say they played all right until Benrahma got a red card. And I think, to be fair, they were trying to make things happen. They just, the tactics, again, we kept trying to work into the corners and cross it in for Danny Ings a lot of the time. And it's like, he's not going to score a header from one of those positions. Why aren't we playing through the middle? That was where we should have been focusing. And to be fair, I think Cornet recognised that, and he was trying to do that a little bit more. But then again, you get past half-time, Benrahma goes off, and we suddenly just tend to try and hoof it up to Cornet, hoping that he'll outpace the defenders and out-strengthen them. And it's like, that's never going to happen. Even if we have Antonio, he's not going to be able to do that there, because they are closing him down very well, because at this point, they're desperate to win the game. They're 1-0 up, only 30 minutes left. They're going to hold him back. So what we were doing there, I do not know, and it shows that we just have no ideas. Plan 1 doesn't work. It just descends to hoofball. There's no backup plan, okay, let's try this instead. There's no recognition of, well, this was working, let's try and do this a lot more and hope it leads to a goal. It's just, let's try and hoof it and hope for the best. And that's just not a way to play football whatsoever, especially as a Premier League team. That was absolutely dire, and it just showed that Moyes has no idea what he's doing tactically, and that he does rely on Paqueta, Bowen and Kudus far too much. And that is really quite worrying, to be honest. I know a lot of people are going, how does he expect to score without his 3 best players? We're playing a team in the division below with 11 players we signed from the Premier League, or at least we signed, and who have played in the Premier League, have been Premier League quality at some point. We should absolutely expect to win that game, regardless of who's playing. And the way some of those players were playing, we should have definitely won the game. We created like 2 shots on target the entire game. Only one of them was really on target. And even last game, once Paqueta went off, we didn't really create any shots on target. That shows an issue. If you can't create more than like 3 shots on target against a team in the division below, that's not an issue with your players. That's an issue with your tactics. That is really, really concerning. And I don't think enough people are talking about that. I really don't. I think too many people are just going, the players were terrible, all the fringe players were awful. And actually, I don't think they were. People are saying about the Reds and the dirtiness of the game. Yes, but we knew that was going to be the case from the last leg. Moyes hasn't prepped them. Quite simple. When you win something, when you go against a team, you need to know what you're going up against. We knew what we were going up against and we weren't prepared. That's on the manager. It's the manager's job to prepare for a game and prepare the players for a game, which he hasn't done. That is his fault. None of this, he's not got the players to do. He has got the players. The midfield too, absolutely dreadful. To be fair to Ward-Prowse, I don't think it was entirely his fault, because whenever he gets the ball, he's got no one to pass to. Danny Ings, he's always behind all these players. He's not quick enough to get back and get forward, so he's kind of just got to sit behind them and wait for him to get the ball up further up the pitch. Susuk's never anywhere to be seen, and suddenly he's looking for wingers or defenders. And to be fair to Ward-Prowse, he didn't really do anything wrong. He just didn't do a whole lot that was really great. And again, I don't really think he had much of a chance to. I think he's so busy trying to do so many jobs on that pitch all the time. That he doesn't get to do what he's good at, which is create goals and go forwards and really provide an extra attacking threat. I don't blame him necessarily. Susek was poor, really poor. He just can't pass the ball. He cannot play possession. And look, yesterday we had no other options, so he had to play. But if we're going to play possession again, he can't start. He really can't. It just cannot be more apparent. He cannot play in a possession-based system than yesterday. He was so poor. And I'm starting to get really fed up of him always starting all the time. He looked tired as well, really tired. He just plays every minute of every game. He needs a break. And look, yesterday again, that couldn't be helped. He had to play. Fair enough, whatever. But it's all the time, There's been a few weeks, like last week when we played Bristol, he shouldn't have started. He should have maybe been starting on the bench, had a break. But no, we start him, and it's just no wonder that he's not playing necessarily as well as he could do. I don't necessarily entirely blame him, because he should be getting rested. But again, we have no midfield depth, and it's not being identified as an issue. People think that we have enough midfielders. We have enough to field one midfield, and once one of them's out, we're screwed. That's really not good. That's really not good at all. I also want to talk about the fullbacks. Kufau was the worst game I've seen from him in a while. Again, I think he's probably quite tired. He's been playing a lot recently, so I'm not going to have a dig at him too much. I just think that he should have come. He shouldn't have started in the first place. I would have started Ben Johnson from the beginning, purely just to provide more of an attacking threat. You saw it when he came on. Ben Johnson was so much better than Kufau yesterday. Even defensively, and again, I would have started Ben Johnson purely for that extra attacking threat. He's so good going forwards at the moment. He's in really good form, and to be honest, he was possibly our best player last night. Although I say that with slight trepidation, because obviously he did only play sort of 20 minutes, whereas Emerson played the full sort of 90, so he had the highs and the lows, whereas Ben Johnson didn't really get a chance to have the lows. I do want to sort of praise Emerson and Cornet for their urgency, sort of around the 80th minute mark. Just after that, the two of them looked desperate to get out of the pitch and try and get a goal. They were running over, getting the ball for Fabianski, going here you go, pass it here, come on. They were running up the pitch. They were looking forwards. They wanted to win that game. They were showing sort of a fight, and I respect that. I really do. They clearly wanted that. They didn't want to lose. Same with Ben Johnson. He was making solo runs. He was running so much. The amount of times he would pass off to Soucek to get around a midfielder and would run open into space, and Soucek's just turned and passed it backwards, and you could just see the frustration growing on Ben Johnson's face there. I think he could have made something happen yesterday, to be honest. I really do, if they'd have kept up with some of those runs. Danny Ings, the rumours to Wolves are laughable. He's too slow. Wolves are like ours, play style on steroids, really. They need fast, quick, tricky players. He would be even worse at Wolves than he is at West Ham. There's no debate in that whatsoever. He would not suit Wolves at all. he would be absolutely dire at Wolves. And the fact that people actually think there's substance to those rumours, and they would go out and buy a player like Ings, who is nominally doesn't suit a system very similar to theirs, they wouldn't at all. Those rumours are absolute rubbish. Wolves aren't coming in for Danny Ings. They're not. That's not going to happen, especially after last night. If there was any interest at all, that's gone. Saïd Benrahma again. I don't think we get much money for him. I think 15 million, I would bite your hand off at that, to be honest. You know, that red card was silly. It was just showed his poor attitude, and it was really, 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 really unnecessary. You know, look, all right, they've been a bit feisty with us, but there's no need to start going around and kicking them. You immediately, you know, you're never going to win that fight. You know, look, they deserved maybe a red too, but at the same time, you know, what they did was nowhere near as bad as what Saïd Benrahma did. I want that made 100% clear right now. You know, the guy who swung the punch at Cresswell, you know, he got away with it because it was a very poor punch and it didn't really look like a punch to the naked eye. You know, when you watch the replays and you think that's a punch, it looked like a punch. But watching that the first time, it was, you know, you'll be remiss not to believe it was a punch. So that was really, really bad by Benrahma, to be honest, and he really made me angry because he just immediately just nullified our chances even further than they already were. And he didn't even look like upset by it. You know, he didn't even look like, oh yeah, I'm really sorry, I screwed up. He just looked like, for God's sake, you know, why you come on, like, why are you doing this to me? And to be honest, that if that's his last action in the West Ham shirt, then I'm quite glad, to be honest, because I don't. If players are going to go around punch me, but that's the wrong attitude for me to be playing for this team. You know, we're a respectful team. We're a team who play with respect and not sort of dignity, and that's not playing with respect and dignity. That's playing with bad attitude and sort of selfishness. Because he deprived, you know, all those fans and all his teammates of the chance to sort of get back into the game, and that's really, really unforgivable. Yeah, look, it was a terrible performance. Fabianski played okay. Again, I think a few of those saves really should have been making saves rather than just rebounding it away for corners and things. You know, we gave him more chances and took away time. He was a little bit slow at points to try and, like, make decisions. You know, he would sort of get the ball and he'd be about to take a goal kick and he's kind of just, like, you know, he doesn't really do anything with it. He just passes it to his back line, who then passes it back to him because they've got no options. And then he hoofs it. Just hoof it from the beginning. Like, there's no point mucking about with all that. And his distribution, again, isn't that great. Like, he's just so many times he kicks it up there and it just ends up straight back to the opposition or off the pitch. And it's like, you know, Ariola's distribution a lot of the time goes to a player of ours. And I think it really proves why he's not our first keeper anymore. It really does. And tactically, we were so poor. You know, we had no ideas of how to deal with Bristol City. You know, the team lineup was awful to start with. 5 at the back versus a team the division below is just never going to... You know, you can't defend that in any way, shape or form. Not at all. Especially when you look at so many better ways you could have used that extra player who wasn't going to be in the midfield as a striker, or, you know, you could have still played a midfielder or played a defender who was going to be able to come forward a lot to sort of cover for Alvarez, sort of fill that Alvarez role a little bit. Look, it was really poor from Moyes. And you know what? Honestly, you know, I was sitting there at half-time going, right, we need to get Ings off. You know, we need to do this, we need to do that. And then he did that, but he did it at like the 70th minute, and it's like by that 80th minute, by that point, it's too late. They're not going to have an impact now. You know, Bristol City were making changes really early on, and they were winning the game. You know, they were looking and going, well, you know, we're doing well, but we could do even better. Moyes was looking and going, well, we're doing crap, and let's just stay and do that for the next, like, 60 minutes. Like that I just don't get the logic there, you know. It's not like this was just what had been happening in this game. This was what happened in the game before as well. You know, these things haven't been working for 180 minutes, and you're not changing them. Why? Like, what is it going to take for you to change, you know? And against Bristol, we did the same thing against Brighton, and it didn't work. What point is he going to change the tactics? Because they're quite clearly not working at all. It doesn't matter who you play with. You know, Brighton, we had a few of our players. You know, Arsenal, we had a few of our players. Arsenal's different because they're obviously a top side. You know, I don't. He's so stubborn, and it's going to really be our downfall that he just will not listen to valid criticism because he's too stubborn, and it's going to cost us a lot. I really do think that, really, really do, and I'm really worried, to be honest, because we weren't good enough. Absolutely not. And the fact he hasn't recognised that, and the fact there's no urgency to get players in after those performances is honestly really concerning, because that shows a complete lack of ambition and a complete lack of sort of faith that we can do better than we are, or at least do as well as we are for the rest of the season, because we aren't getting top 6 if we play those players for more than sort of 3 Premier League games, and that is what is going to happen if we don't get some new players in.